Hi, this is Carl from Linguagenesis, and what I'm going to talk to you about in this particular video, which may end up being a two-parter, is German adjectives. And many grammar books and textbooks will usually dedicate around 2, 3 or maybe 4 pages to this area of the language, and you will be provided with a list of adjectives in German as they appear before nouns and take a number of different sets of endings. Now I'm going to share those endings with you, but not only that, after the research which I've undertaken, I'm going to share with you the logic and the reasons behind why adjectives take certain endings in different instances. So, as in any language, we have adjectives in German, obviously, for example, gut, G-U-T, for good, klein, K-L-E-I-N, for small, groß, G-R-O-S, for big, etc. Now, the rule is that in German, if any adjective is placed immediately before a noun, for example, dog, as in a small dog, the big house, etc., then the adjective must take a particular ending. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that if an adjective is placed before a noun, then the adjective will carry at least an E. Maybe an additional letter after the E, but the adjective ending will always be at least an E. Now let's consider the different words for a or an in German. For masculine, we use ein. For feminine, we use eine. And for neuter, we use ein. Now, if we take the feminine version first, eine, and then we have the adjective, let's take, for example, small, klein, and then afterwards the noun, Frau, for example, woman. If we want to say a small woman or a small woman, then we use eine, and then we use kleiner. So the adjective klein is taking the minimum adjective ending, i.e. the extra E, before we then go on to qualify it with the noun Frau. Eine kleine Frau. So not only do we have a matching pair, the final E on eine and the final E on kleiner, but the final E on kleiner is also used to denote that the adjective which follows is feminine. Now let's take ein. Now ein, as the word for a or an in German, is used with reference to both a masculine noun and a neuter noun. For example, ein Mann is a man, and ein Mädchen is a girl, a little girl. Now what we need to do is, because if we were to use ein, we would have no firm indication as to whether the noun which followed were masculine or neuter, the adjective ending which is then used after ein must tell us the gender of the noun. In other words, is it a der word or is it a das word? So if ein were referring to a der word, then the adjective ending would be er. And if the noun qualifier ein were being used in reference to a neuter noun, then the adjective ending would have to be es to tell us that it was a das word. So a small man, ein kleiner Mann. Kleiner spelled K-L-E-I-N-E-R. A small girl, although Mädchen means little girl, a small girl, ein kleines Mädchen. Because obviously it's a das word. Ein Mädchen doesn't tell us for definite whether it's a masculine noun or a neuter noun, and so by uttering kleines, ein kleines Mädchen, we then know that the noun in question is neuter. Now, if we take the words for the, which are der, die, das, and die for plural, then if we use an adjective after der and an adjective after das, this time we don't need the er ending for the masculine noun and the es for the neuter noun respectively, because der tells us that the noun about to follow is masculine, and das tells us that the noun which will follow on is going to be neuter. So therefore, we don't need the adjective ending to tell us that it's a der word, and we don't need the adjective ending to tell us that it's a das word in those two particular instances, because the words for the already do that. So we're still using a noun after the adjective in each case, and so the minimum ending, as I said earlier on, is just an E. The small man, der kleine Mann, K-L-E-I-N-E. The small girl, das kleine, with just the E, Mädchen. And once again for feminine, die, we have the ending E to tell us that the noun which follows is feminine. For example, die kleine Frau. Now in plural, the word for the is also die. So now what we have to do is we have to use a different adjective ending after die when die refers to a plural noun than we do with the adjective after die when die refers to a feminine noun. So with die referring to a feminine noun, the ending is E, but in the plural instance, the adjective ending will be en to erase the ambiguity as to whether the noun following is feminine or whether it's plural. So the small woman, die kleine Frau. The small women, die kleinen Frauen. I'll continue this in part 2.